Welcome to the Construction Defects Podcast, a show dedicated to helping home builders navigate the tricky and expensive world of construction defect suits. So with me is John Bordenero with Moisture Intrusion Solutions, an envelope consulting firm who helps builders and the associated trades in these types of problems. We had a conversation a number of times about what is a construction defect state. There's a lot of opinion. I don't think that anybody has it right. And there's a lot of examples of how, some people hang on to, well, if construction defect is an insurable occurrence, then that's a construction defect state. And I'm like, well, not necessarily, because I'll take Michigan, where we have an HBA endorsed program that has to add the endorsement that construction defect is an occurrence, otherwise the insurance is worthless and the builder might go out of business. So it doesn't, being insured doesn't necessarily stop or start the evolution of a state into a construction defect state is one of my points. When I asked you about what you think makes a construction defect state, you had some theory about the concentration of lawyers and public adjusters. Tell me more about that.
So we look at it and we do a lot of insurance work. We have a division of our company that does some expert witness on construction defects and materials. So typically, as a lot of it, what we do is windows and hurricane. We're headquartered in Florida, so we get a lot of windows and a lot of hurricanes. You can look at your statute of repose by state. There's a wonderful little website that tells you how many years you're liable for construction defects, when you got to file by, and how long you got to go to court. I will tell you that there is a class of litigators out there who know that very, very well. And they know when the clock starts on basically every building in your state. And there are some of those guys who will come out and file a notice 6 months before those dates are running out, and then start looking for a construction defect. And they make a fair amount of money doing that. Some states, I love the state of Florida, but we got a lot of lawyers, an awful lot of lawyers, and they got to eat too. And they're very busy. Florida also has an awful lot of public adjusters who are working with or against the lawyers, depending on how you look at it, to get claims filed on time and run through that process and get their customers paid as far as their insurance occurrences. I would say that there are certain states that you kind of know that's going to happen. I mean, Texas is also a state that has an awful lot of these law firms based there that do some construction litigation. They love their class action lawsuits, so know who they are. There's a class of them out there.
One of those things I look at is, if you have sites advertising for homeowners targeting certain builders, you probably in a construction defect state.
Correct.
Not every state has a well-developed or well-defined right to repair or right to cure law. They do vary from state to state, and they change frequently, which is one of the things that scares us insurance companies. We thought we had fixed Nevada, and now Nevada is a problem again. It's Chapter 40. So, when we look at what is a construction defect state, we almost have to ask the question, well, how much this is progressed to the point where the state is dangerous versus like California, where yes, it's a construction defect state, but it's settled law. You know what the rules are for the most part because it's been around for so long, and there's enough court cases at the state level by which to support it. But it is a state-by-state thing. I've seen reinsurance maps identifying problem states, and we'll be able to share that with our audience sometime after this podcast series. But the map itself is not all inclusive or necessarily accurate, because I think it only looks at states where they've had a lot of claims, not where they're about ready to have a lot of claims.
Right.
And when we say anything in a scope of time for insurance, think of that in dog years. We perceive things in 1 year. Insurance companies take 7 years to realize the same thing.
Well, folks, that concludes this segment of what is a construction defect, and if you're in a construction defect state. Hey, look for some more education from the builders' books at NAHB and their insurance risk management section. It's coming up. You don't want to miss it.